Some things are never truly lost. They simply wait, buried in silence, until the day they rise again. In today's video, we uncover 5 mysterious disappearances that reappeared after centuries. From ghost ships and sunken cities to forgotten masterpieces and ancient libraries. Get ready. You're about to cross the boundary between history and legend. Mary Celeste. In the early winter of 1872, a British ship named Dei Grazia spotted something strange drifting silently across the North Atlantic, about 400 miles east of the Azores. It was the Mary Celeste, a 282-ton brigantine that had set sail just weeks earlier from New York, bound for Genoa, Italy. But what the crew of the Dei Grazia found on board would become one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. The Mary Celeste was completely deserted. Not a single soul on board. The lifeboat was gone, but otherwise the ship was in good seaworthy condition. The cargo of industrial alcohol was untouched. The crew's belongings were still in their quarters. Even food remained in the galley. Most unsettling of all, the last entry in the ship's logbook was dated 10 days earlier. Yet there were no signs of struggle, no blood, no storm damage, no distress signals. It was as if the people aboard had simply evaporated. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened to the 10 people aboard, including the ship's captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, and their 2-year-old daughter. Theories have ranged from the logical to the outlandish. Pirates, mutiny, a rogue wave, underwater earthquakes, poisoning from alcohol fumes, even alien abduction. But no theory fully explains the total lack of damage, the perfect condition of the cargo, or why the crew would abandon a perfectly navigable ship in the middle of calm seas. What makes the story of the Mary Celeste even more chilling is how eerily intact everything was. A captain's journal, a sewing machine left mid-use, a pipe still lying by the bunk. It felt like they had vanished in the middle of life, with no warning, no farewell. For more than a century, the mystery remained a favorite among novelists, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, even wrote a fictionalized version of the story that helped popularize the ghost ship legend. But then something extraordinary happened. Decades later, items believed to be from the Mary Celeste began to surface on distant islands across the Atlantic. A cracked compass casing with 19th-century American markings, a child's boot found in the Azores that matched inventory records, even pages resembling navigation logs water-damaged but partially legible. While none of these discoveries could be definitively confirmed, they reignited the investigation into the fate of the Mary Celeste and reminded the world that some mysteries are never truly gone. They're just waiting to be uncovered. The Mary Celeste continues to float not just in the ocean of history, but in the human imagination. A symbol of how silence can be louder than screams, and how even in our age of satellite tracking and deep-sea scanning, the sea still keeps its secrets. It remains a ghost ship in every sense of the word. Untouched, unsolved, unforgettable. MH370, the plane that vanished, and whispers from the deep. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur bound for Beijing with 239 people on board. What was supposed to be a routine red-eye flight became one of the most baffling aviation mysteries in human history. Within less than an hour, the plane disappeared from radar. No crash site, no black box, no distress signal. Simply vanished. The entire world watched in disbelief as days turned into weeks, and weeks into years. Dozens of countries joined search operations across a vast swath of ocean, but for a long time, nothing was found. Families were left in agony. Conspiracy theories swirled. A hijacking? A military cover-up? A secret landing? But then, after more than a year, something surfaced. In July 2015, a piece of airplane debris washed up on Réunion Island in the Indian Ocean. It was a wing flaperon, and after months of analysis, it was confirmed to be from MH370. It was the first physical evidence that the plane had crashed into the sea. Soon after, more fragments emerged. A piece of the engine cowling in Mozambique. Cabin parts off the coast of Madagascar. Internal panels and pieces of the interior were scattered like puzzle pieces across the western Indian Ocean. These eerie remnants were all that remained, but they proved one thing. The sea had taken the plane, and over time, it was beginning to give parts of it back. Yet, even with these discoveries, the core mystery remains: why did MH370 go off course? What happened on board? Where exactly is the rest of the wreckage? In a sense, MH370 hasn't fully reappeared, but its ghostly return in fragments has reopened questions and reawakened the public's need for answers. The ocean has started whispering back, piece by piece, as if urging humanity to keep looking, to not forget. MH370 reminds us that even in an age of satellites and global tracking, disappearance is still possible, and that the greatest mysteries don't always lie in the past. Sometimes, they unfold right before our eyes. Heracleion, the lost Egyptian Atlantis that rose again. For centuries, the name Heracleion existed only in myth. Ancient Greek and Egyptian texts whispered of a grand city submerged beneath the sea, a port of immense wealth, religious power, and cultural exchange. But no one had ever seen it. Many dismissed Heracleion as a legend, perhaps a misunderstood reference to the elusive Atlantis. That was until the year 2000, when French marine archaeologist Frank Gaudio and his team made a discovery that would rewrite history. While scanning the seabed of Abu Qir Bay, just off the coast of Alexandria, they encountered what looked like massive stone structures buried beneath layers of silt. What they unearthed wasn't just fragments or ruins. It was an entire ancient city, astonishingly well-preserved, resting silently beneath the Mediterranean for over 1,200 years. Heracleion was real, and it had returned. Known to the ancient Egyptians as Thonis, Heracleion was once Egypt's most important port before the rise of Alexandria. It was the gateway for Greek merchants and a sacred city where gods were honored and pharaohs passed through rituals of power. Diving archaeologists uncovered monumental statues, some standing 5 meters tall, perfectly sculpted in granite. They found gold coins, ceremonial artifacts, and slabs of hieroglyphs detailing forgotten traditions. Entire temples, wooden ships, and stone docks lay hidden, intact, frozen in time. What makes Heracleion so surreal is its preservation. Despite spending over a millennium underwater, many objects were astonishingly pristine. Steels and statues showed little erosion. Temple floors were still aligned. Even pottery and jewelry had retained their original form. It was as if the city had only just sunk yesterday. Researchers believe Heracleion succumbed to a combination of earthquakes, rising tides, and soil liquefaction, causing it to slip into the sea in the 8th century AD, vanishing from maps and memory alike. Heracleion's rediscovery isn't just a triumph of underwater archaeology. It's a powerful reminder that beneath the surface of our oceans lie entire lost worlds. Civilizations that didn't truly disappear. They were simply waiting to be heard again. The Library of Alexandria, knowledge lost, then found. Imagine a place where the wisdom of the ancient world was gathered under one roof: science, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, even maps of lands yet to be discovered. That place existed over 2,000 years ago. It was called the Library of Alexandria, and it may have held more knowledge than any institution in history. Built in the 3rd century BC in the Egyptian city of Alexandria, the library was a monumental symbol of human ambition. Backed by the Ptolemaic dynasty, it sought to collect every book, scroll, and manuscript in the known world. Ships docking in Alexandria were required to surrender their texts for copying, and the library grew to an estimated 400,000 to 700,000 scrolls, many containing ideas lost to time. But then, it vanished. Between wars, fires, and invasions, the library was gradually destroyed. Some blame Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria in 48 BC. Others point to later Christian or Islamic conquests. However it happened, humanity's greatest treasure trove of knowledge was gone, and with it, thousands of years of thinking, research, and wonder. But not everything was lost. Over the past century, archaeologists and historians have begun uncovering fragments. In the sands of Egypt, in hidden monasteries, and in obscure collections scattered across Europe and the Middle East. Ancient Greek medical texts, mathematical theories once thought modern, early interpretations of the stars that rival today's models, Some scrolls preserved in carbonized ruins, others recovered from forgotten archives. Many of these discoveries have been linked, through linguistic and stylistic analysis, to works once catalogued in the Library of Alexandria. Bit by bit, the ghost of the library is reassembling itself, not in a single building, but through the reawakening of forgotten ideas. In 2002, the modern Bibliotheca Alexandrina was inaugurated in Egypt, not just as a tribute to the lost library, but as a beacon of knowledge for the future. It stands not to rebuild what was lost, but to remind us, even when wisdom is burned, buried, or scattered, it can rise again. The Library of Alexandria didn't disappear. It hid, waiting for us to rediscover it. Salvator Mundi, the lost Leonardo that shook the art world. For centuries, it was just a whisper, a rumor in the art world that somewhere, a lost painting by Leonardo da Vinci still existed. A portrait of Christ, titled Salvator Mundi, Savior of the World, painted with the same ethereal grace as the Mona Lisa, yet lost to time, war, and misattribution. That all changed in 2005, when a dusty, damaged painting was bought for just $1,175 at a small auction in New Orleans. No one suspected it was anything more than a copy. But beneath layers of poor restoration, something extraordinary was hiding. Over the next decade, a team of art historians and forensic analysts undertook a painstaking process of cleaning, testing, and comparing. Brushstroke by brushstroke, signature by signature, they uncovered what the world had forgotten. This was not a replica. This was the real thing. A genuine Leonardo da Vinci. In 2011, the rediscovered Salvator Mundi was unveiled to the public at the National Gallery in London. The art world was stunned. A work believed lost for over 500 years had returned. But the story didn't end there. In 2017, the painting was sold at a Christie's auction for a jaw-dropping $450.3 million, making it the most expensive painting ever sold. The buyer? Allegedly a Saudi prince. Its current location is unknown, and some believe it's hidden on a private yacht. Salvator Mundi is more than a painting. It is a symbol of resurrection, not just of Christ, but of lost genius, forgotten beauty, and the idea that even what seems lost forever can be found again. It reminds us that in dusty corners, in quiet auctions, legends sleep, waiting for someone with enough vision and patience to wake them. These mysteries may have slept for centuries, but their return is a reminder. Nothing truly disappears. It's simply waiting to be found. Which story impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next mystery. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.